IPMNation.com.
Previously on Angry Drunk Tales.
How long I can sit here without telling you what I really think?
And how long can you?
About 2 drinks. This is my second. You are the most contrary woman I have ever met.
Be angry.
I didn't think you approved the way I led my life. Well, you listen to me, little lady, and you listen good. Now, you hypnotize her or you tranquilize her or do whatever you have to do, but get that woman out of my house.
Me write angry emails.
Oh, come on now. You two must have talked once in a while. I come home, try to make things right between us, and you're traipsing around the county, keeping him from his job.
Episode 46, Pinto Beans and Chewbacca.
Me still angry. Me continue to write long, rambling, drunken emails. Me continue to be angry over incident several weeks ago. Me have emotional intelligence of 5-year-old child. Me bitter and frustrated with myself over being drunken 300-pound tub of shit. Me undiagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. Me write angry emails. Me hate everyone.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 46 of Angry Drunk Tales. I'm Matt Connerton.
And I'm Jen Coffey.
And when we last left off, episode 45, it was our biggest cliffhanger yet on the show because we didn't know if there would be any future episodes. We thought that might really be the end. And in fact, it has been a long time since we've recorded a new episode of Angry Drunk Tales.
It has. It has been a long time. And I believe that was emails from the month of September where we left off, right?
Yeah, because over time, our former roommate has slowly weaned himself off of sending us harassing emails, but he will still send them. The previous one that we read on the air that we used in episode 45 was from September 22nd.
Let's a little perspective here. We moved out.
It was July 26th.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So, nearly 2 months after that, that was when he sent us the email talking about, he thought that we were stealing his mail, etc. And that, I'm sorry, no, the last one was talking about the electric bill.
Oh, yes, the 2-month electric bill.
Yes.
2 months after we left, suddenly we're responsible for his electric bill.
Yes.
And then 3 months goes by.
So then he stopped. He didn't send us anything more in the short term, but then
Well, no, that's not exactly true.
Well, on October 5th, we got something politically based.
Yeah.
We've speculated as to why he does that it may be his way of a sort of a poisoned olive branch, trying to suck us back in, or at least trying to suck me back in. I don't think he sent the last one to you that he sent on October 5th.
Thankfully left me out of it. It was just you.
It was to me and the other people in his peer group.
But he does this consistently on an intermittent basis where he's sending these political messages to his group.
Yeah.
And including you.
Right.
Trying to, I think, trying to bait you into a conversation. And you received another political post from him, a day or two ago? And it is December 5th.
Yeah. So we'll still get those occasionally. But we did get a very entertaining email on October 22nd, which will be the focus of this week's today's episode 46. And again, it's been a while since we've done one.
This one was elaborate.
Yeah, this one was interesting
came with pictures.
And the only reason we held off on it was because we had kind of repackaged the show and started running them over from episode 1 on IPM Nation, because we run the show weeknights at midnight Eastern Time on IPM Nation 1. And so we decided to wait until we had run all 45 episodes of the new repackaged version of the show before we started recording new ones. And, I don't know if there will ever be an episode 47, but we finally got caught up with the nightly airings of the show. Episode 45 aired, and I said, well, we do have an email for episode 46. And, and it's not like we can just let it go because this is such a great email, so we have to continue. So obviously, at this point, the series will no longer be nightly. We'll still run the old episodes on IPM Nation, but you're going to see a lot less new episodes.
Maybe we should just, after we air this one, start back at 1 so people can hear the story from the beginning all over again. Of course, you can always go to IPMNation.com and listen on demand.
Well, you go to YouTube, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. YouTube,
on our YouTube page.
Our YouTube page. I'm sorry. I send people to the wrong places.
we post them on YouTube and on our Vimeo channel. And by the way, if you're looking for episode 5, you have to go to our Vimeo channel. YouTube had some sort of issue with that one. I don't know what it was, and they yanked it. And when I try to re-upload episode 5 to YouTube, it tells me that I can't. But we also have our Vimeo channel. So Correct. If you go to IPMNation.com, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see both our Vimeo and our YouTube link. And you can click Vimeo. The full archive is there. And, of course, on YouTube, the full archive is there except for Episode 5. So somehow we'll figure out a way to get because I want to have Episode 5 on YouTube. We'll figure something out. But even when I change the title, when I try to re-upload it to YouTube, it still knows it's the same video. And it's really strange. And it still tells me, you can't upload this. And it yells at me. So, but we got an email on. I'm sorry, I think I misspoke and said October 22nd. It was actually October 24th. It was the morning that you and I were going to WGIR here in Manchester for a radio appearance.
Yes, with Andrew Hemingway.
Yes.
Who ran for governor of the state of New Hampshire. So it was quite a wonderful day for us.
Well, and it was interesting because the protagonist in our story, one of the consistent themes in his emails to us is how we're nobodies, we're nothing, and nobody cares about our opinion. And then we're getting an email from him as it showed up on my phone as we're walking in to WGIR to be on the radio because we were invited to be there by someone who cared about our opinion. Or cared about your opinion. I was invited to participate at the last minute, but we cared
about your opinion too.
Yes,
I wouldn't have invited you.
No, I know, but I wasn't originally. I didn't think I was going to be on the air, but I was very honored that he asked me to join in. But originally you were invited. The invitation was for you to go on the air, and so our former roommate, who is always telling us how no one cares about our opinions, we're getting this email from him at 7:00 in the morning as we're walking in to a place where we're going to have our opinions heard.
I'm a little confused. Was that interview that we did on WGIR before or after they asked me to go to WGBH in Boston and be on TV with them?
This was after.
That was after that?
Yes,
oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Oh. I don't know how I ended up in Boston on WGBH because nobody wants my opinion.
Right, yes, because, you and I think we're media stars. And,
right, okay.
And whatever else he says about us. So, but so it was incredible. You didn't even know because I didn't say anything because I didn't want to distract you from the task at hand. I think I didn't forward you the email till afterward, or maybe during, but you looked at it afterward as we're walking into WGIR.
Yeah, it was afterwards. Yep.
But so this is the email. And there's a fun surprise with this email, but I will now perform for you a dramatic reading of the email that we received on October 24th.
Which is 3 months after we left.
Yes. Yes, from that hell of a guy that we used to live with. Here it is. Oh, and the title of the email is "See, Don't Need Your Shitty Stuff." All right. So you both are so sure you are well loved. Well, guess what? Most people that I know who know your reputations think you are two low-life scum, basically. When I paid a security deposit and signed a lease, I wanted my own home and expected it. I was never really even asked about someone's asshole lazy brat moving in with me. A guy who broke my shoe rack while I watched and looked at me like he was marking his space as he did it. Then 10 minutes later insulted me. And all of this before I even knew he was going to be a new roommate, because you two had decided it without even asking me. You people are users. Nothing more, nothing less. Users, liars, and cheats. I was asked about 4 pieces of furniture, not an entire house. If you wanted your own home, then you all should have taken over the lease. Jesse, at the end of the day, I had even wonder why I asked. Okay, I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to start this email over because here's what I'm going to do. Usually when I read these, if he was clearly inebriated while writing them, I have to kind of self-edit as I go and not read exactly what he wrote, but edit it so that it makes sense. You know what I mean? Because this email was sent to us at 7 o'clock in the morning, presumably he had been up all night drinking, I am having a hard time reading this email and self-editing and making sense of it as I'm reading it because he clearly was very drunk. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to start over, and I'm just going to read it exactly the way it's written. How's that sound?
I think that's a good idea.
All right. This is exactly what he wrote to us. And I mean, you can figure out what he meant. But I'm having such a hard time. This is one of the least coherent emails we've ever received from him. And that's saying a lot. Here, I'm going to start this over. Here's exactly as this email is written. So, you both are so sir, you air well loved. Well, guess what? Most people that I know who cow your reputations think you are two low-life scum, basically. When I paid a security deposit and signed a lease, I wanted my own home and expected it. I was never really even asked about someone's asshole lazy brat moving in with me. A guy who broke my shoe rack while I watched and looked at me like he was marking high space, he did it. Then 10 minutes later insulted me. And all of this before I even knew he was going to be a new roommate, because you twa had basically it without even asking me. You people are users. Nothing more, nothing less. Users, lures, and cheats. I was asked about 4 pieces of furniture, not an entire house. If you wanted our own home, then you all should have taken the lease. At the end of the day, I had to wonder why I stood up for you people against Alex, because I never really liked any of you anyways. None of you ever cleaned shit, took out even your own trash, and regularly treated my home as a warehouse. You people are the ultimate of white trash. By the way, the mice came from you, most likely in those garbage bags full of purses you brought in. You can't just take trash out of people's basements and garages without inspecting it before bringing it into your home. You can say whatever you like about me, because you pretend to be a functioning professional person, when in fact you are nothing more than a pretender and a user. Yes, Matt, you specifically. Get a real job, and then prove to me you have some value as a human being. You and Jen have no pay jobs and suck off the government teat, And yes, I do pay taxes. You do not know the structure of my business relations. So to say I don't is a fucking lie on your part. Some of my client withhold. One pays taxes outright as services, and others send me a 1099 and I pay my own. Stop making shit up about me, asshole. You are gone because I wanted you gone. You and Jen created too much drama around me, and so did Angela. And then you moved Jehesi in without ever really asking me. You asked me when Aloix was here, and I said it was his decision. You never asked me after that, like many other things you two just chose to do, by the way. At the end of the day, if you keep pushing people, at some point they tire of it. When you all left, for sure I was a bit worried about rent and bills. I knew I could cover for 3 months and was aught sure how it would take and to find new roommates. As it was, I filled your room a week later and furnished it myself. And the only reason I rented the back room was to help someone out on a fixed income with the agreement that she would keep the place clean if I was too busy to do so. Fuck you, Matt and Jen. I could buy you both and sell you if I wanted to. In fact, at this point now that this place is furnished, if roommates moves out, I won't be looking for any more either. But right now, I do have 2 very, very good roommates. You people were lowlifes. The fact that you think I ever had respect for either of you amazes me, in fact. I respected Alex because he was endeavoring to do real shit. You two both live in a fantasy world. More than anything else, I was fascinated how far you two were into your fantasy world of pseudo-celebritism than anything else. It was quite funny to observe, in fact, how serious the both of you took yourselves, even when no one called you, because no one cared except yourselves, basically. The only reason I asked you about doing a cable access show was to find out how much you two spent each month to talk to yourselves, basically. And there you have it.
And there it is.
And that's not all. There are 6 photos attached. He actually took the time.
And they look awful.
To attach 6 photos of how fancy-dancy the place looks now that we're out.
I mean, not to be disparaging to anybody or anything, but it looks like the area in like Goodwill that you go to where all the furniture is just kind of crumbled together and shit's just kind of thrown around.
It actually really does. Yeah, it looks like the same
does.
dump it always did. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he didn't force us out. We left of our own free will and made way better, smarter decisions. Mm-hmm. And we live in beautiful serenity, and we're happy. Did I mishear you, or at some point in there did he call you celibate?
Oh.
Because that's news to me.
No, he used a word that I don't think is a real word. He said that we live in a fantasy world of pseudo-celebritism.
Oh, celebritism.
As in celebrities.
In a celebrity, whatever.
I don't think that's a real word. Let me see. I've never heard that word used.
I thought it might be another one of where, I mean, that email, I got to give you some credit on reading that because it's insanely written and there are so many errors. I don't...
Okay.
What was my son's name? Jeffu?
Apparently it is. Oh,
Jeffu?
Jehesi.
Jehesi. That's a new translation on Jesse.
Oh, apparently. All right. Well, I have to give him this much credit. It is a word. According to Urban Dictionary, it's a devastating social disorder where a person wants to achieve celebrity without any work. Okay. Well, I work pretty damn hard, and so do you. And we don't, he constantly paints us as...
we don't do 9 to 5 days.
Right.
There's no such thing as a 9 to 5 day.
No,
it starts in the morning and it ends whenever the hell it ends. And it might be 3 o'clock in the morning.
It very often is. But
thankfully you don't have somebody drunk and knocking on your door at 2 o'clock in the morning interrupting your work anymore to talk about their latest piss off thing that they're mad about from Walking Dead.
Right. There was one night I was thinking about this. I'd kind of forgotten about this. One of the many instances where he would knock on our door late at night.
You mean early in the morning?
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that late at night.
There
2
was-
o'clock, 3 o'clock. If the AM's after it,
yeah.
it's morning.
There was one night that he did that, or morning, where I don't know if you remember this, because I don't recall if you were awake or not for this, but he usually it was he wanted to talk about something political or something stupid, like, you know, he wanted to tell me about the latest episode of The Walking Dead, even though I didn't watch the show, so I couldn't possibly give a shit. But he, you know, he had a little bit of a bitter side to him, definitely. And there was one night he came to the door and he was especially inebriated. It was obvious because his speech was slurred, and he was basically telling me about how everyone sucks. Like, people in general just suck, everybody. And I was like, okay, you know, and you know, I look back on that moment and I wonder, you know, because now after he made that turn where he went from being super extremely accommodating nice guy to just being complete prick, you know, I've often, of course, and we've talked about it on the show, I've often looked back at certain things and kind of thought, well, you know, there was a clue. And I wonder if that night that he did that, because you know how he claims he never really liked us, which I don't believe. But if he is telling the truth and he really did never like us, was that his way of sort of telling us that he didn't really like us?
I don't know.
Because he was saying everybody sucks. All people suck. They're all basically evil.
Maybe. I don't know.
So was that him saying
claims,
that
he has a weird sense of everything. I mean, in this last email, he again makes a statement, you know, none of you ever cleaned anything or whatever. I hired a person to come in and do housekeeping, and she cleaned the place every freaking week.
I'd forgotten about that. You're right, yeah.
You know,
it was part of a barter arrangement.
It was part of a barter arrangement. And she did a great job. And she would, you know, clean the bathroom, clean the floors, clean the counters. You know, and I had that being done every week. And in between, you know, we would just normally pick up things like normal people do. Unfortunately, that wasn't his behaviorism.
Right.
You know, his behaviorism would have been better to drag the trash barrels into his room versus the 20 trips that it took him out of his room to go to the trash barrels to dump his 3-carton full ashtray and his 2 cases of empty bottles from his workstation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want an employee like that. I wouldn't want an employee that's workstation is loaded with nothing but beer and shit, you know.
There was that one other email that we got. This came on October 30th, so 6 days after that last one, and all he said was in the title he wrote, "I love these pinto beans," and then in the body of the email he wrote, "And you should go fight Chewbacca." Now, that was the strangest email he'd ever sent.
Yeah, but you figured it out.
But I figured it out. So, you know, and if he hears this, hey, fine, dude, you got me to actually try to figure out what it is you were saying.
But it was very useful. So
yeah,
so
I googled Chewbacca and pinto beans and figured out that it was bad lip reading, which I knew was a thing, but I'd forgotten all about it. And by the way, anybody who likes political humor, check out Bad Lip Reading on YouTube and watch the videos. The political videos are hilarious.
Right. So this was a reference to one of those videos that wasn't it the Democratic
debate.
Yep.
The first Democratic debate. And
somebody made a really cool lip reading to it, which is really hysterical. And I don't care, Democrat or Republican, they're a riot.
Oh, they are,
You'll laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
So you somehow managed to put those two together, but you had fun with it.
Yeah.
and I 100% approved.
Yeah.
We gave you a great idea. So if you're listening to this, thank you for giving us a great idea. And I hope you enjoyed whatever that episode was, that you had fun with it with.
Yes.
And how was it again? I forget exactly how you did it in that episode.
No, I used something from that. for his name, I think, or something. I don't even
The
remember
Chewbacca
exactly.
and the Pinto beans. Yes, there is an episode out there with the
Oh,
reference.
Chewbacca. I used
Yes,
Chewbacca.
you used Chewbacca. Yes.
Yes.
So if you see that episode, you'll know why it got called that.
Yes. So, I guess that's it for this episode, and who knows? This could be. We don't know now at this point. That was back. That email was back from October 24th, and it's already December.
If you have had any doubts up until this point, just consider this. We paid our rent for the month of July on time, as always.
Mm-hmm.
And we left a week prior to the end of the month. Before we would have run out of our rental time.
July 26th.
So this is July. Here you're reading emails from October.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's harassing anybody, if anybody is being bizarre or stalking, I mean, stalking like hell, it's this guy. Because we're 3 months out and the dude's still sending these crazy friggin' emails. And he doesn't just send it to you. He sends it to 4 or 5 other people to defame us, to attempt to attack us or whatever. And to tell you how much I care about that, go visit my bathroom. But the point being is that, think about that, folks. You lived with someone for a few months, realize they're nuts, get the hell out of Dodge, and 3 months later, they're still stalking you.
Yeah. But I really think, though, this Pinto Beans one, you know, that had to be, I mean, I just wonder, was that like...
Did he have a moment of maybe going, oh, this is humorous?
I don't know.
Well, if he wants to send us more titles and more emails, we'll be happy to oblige.
Yeah.
Feel free.
Yeah.
As you can see, we're very happy obliging. And as you can see from our listening areas, people out in LA and in Texas and New York, Boston, they're all loving it, babe. So feel free to send us some more. If you want to send show title ideas, if you want your name to be a certain thing, go right ahead. We'd be more than happy to oblige you for the sake of our listeners.
Yes. All right, well, I guess we'll... oh, by the way, apparently he has a friend now. He has a dog. We have a source that has told us that he has a dog. A large dog in a small apartment, which is...
I think that's cruel.
Yeah,
I don't agree
like
with people
either.
having large dogs in apartments
No.
unless you live near a park or something and you're really adamant about getting them out and walking them and exercising them. It's cruelty because they're so confined and they're surrounded by pavement and they can't be real dogs.
I wonder if he walks it to 7-Eleven and then ties it up outside while he's in getting his case of beer.
I have no doubt. I feel bad for the animal.
I do too.
I truly feel bad for the animal, and I hope that nothing bad happens to this animal because I have a great love for animals. They're innocents, and somebody like that who is so irresponsible, reckless, and clueless should not be responsible for another life.
Yeah. I wonder if he feeds it beer.
Oh my God, that would be awful.
Puts beer in
That's like the
its
worst
bowl.
thing to do to a dog. Yeah, let me give you something that kills your liver, kills your pancreas,
But we're not-
just so I can laugh and watch you walk around drunk. It's cruel.
Just to be clear, we're not saying he does that. I'm just saying I wonder if he does
If
that.
he does, if anybody does,
Yeah.
it's freaking cruel.
Yeah.
Not a funny thing to do to your poor
Yeah.
animal.
Hopefully he wouldn't harm an animal, but just...
I would hope not.
But seeing how he treats people once he's mad at them.
Yeah, you get on his shit list and he goes for the jugular and tries to hurt you in every way possible.
And I also hear from a source that the dog goes nuts anytime anybody in the building opens a door, and they have to calm the dog down like every hour or half hour, and that's just gotta suck.
Especially when there's a baby underneath them.
Yes, that's true.
And
That's true.
I can tell you, there's nothing worse than finally getting your baby down for a nap and resting and having something startle it awake because now this child is not only exhausted, but stressed out, and they'll cry. I mean, I can remember having occasions where I had to take my son out in the car and drive because the driving around in the car would calm him down enough to sleep. But could you imagine having to do that at like 2 a.m. because some jackass idiot can't friggin' raise his animal right, and it's barking its head off and waking your poor kid up?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine those parents are getting a hell of a lot of sleep, and I feel really bad for them. I really do.
I do too.
I feel bad for the kid. I mean, I feel bad for anybody that's going to either live with or around a person that is so self-centered and so fantasical in the way that he lives. He lives in a fantasy world, and so drunk at all times is awful.
Yeah.
And I don't wish it on my worst enemy in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm so glad to be done with it. And if this is our last episode, Matt, thank you for sharing this journey with me.
Yes, thank you, and thank you all. I have hope. I have hope that it won't be the last episode. I bet as Christmas begins to loom, he will, as so many people do, they start reflecting during the holidays, and he will reflect on his time with us and think of more things to bitch about.
I hope so.
I hope so too. So until then, it's not goodbye. It's just so long for now, because I will remain optimistic. He won't be able to help himself, especially if he hears this. But in the meantime, if you are one of his new roommates, because we know that he has a couple of roommates now, from what I hear, according to our source.
He didn't need one. He needed 2, apparently.
Yes, and the dog. If you
And
are
the dog.
if you are one of his roommates or his dog, may God help you and keep you safe. Good night.
Good night.
IPMNation.com.